Let's talk about the lie of people buy from people they know, like, and trust. You've heard it. I've heard it. I had side hustles when I was still in the Air Force, going as far back as 1993. Read them all, right? Napoleon Hill, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People, countless hours of Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Tony Robbins, you name it. I got David Sandler. Actually, I'm burning some CDs right here. Old President's Club from Sandler Sales Training. And this stuff is ageless, right? It literally goes back decades, generations. I've had Jeffrey Gitomer on the podcast, author of the Sales Bible. And so you've heard repeatedly, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And the reason that is a lie is that it leads you to believe that those three things are equal, right? 33 1/3% people must know you, must like you, must trust you. The reality is more like 1% know you, 1% like you, 98% trust you. And it could even be like 0.5%. It could be 1% know you. It could be like, hey, I just met you. 0% like you, and 99% trust you. And so the example I've always given in my training, and so the reason I say this is because the knowing and liking, people thinking it being equal, and sometimes that's skewed. It's like 59 or 49% knowing, 49% liking, 2% trust. I think it'll just happen. When they know me and like me, they'll trust me. That's not always true. There are a lot of people that I know, a lot of people I like hanging out with. I wouldn't trust them with a dollar bill. I wouldn't trust them to pick food up for me. I wouldn't trust them as my Uber driver or Uber Eats. So the example I always give is my 20-year-old daughter turned 3 in the hospital. And she had a ruptured appendix, and being that little, she couldn't really verbalize what was going on. She just was in pain. And it was in October, and we had a lot of fires here in Southern California, at the end of summer. And so happens every year. And that year was close to us, and it affected travel on the 15 freeway for us to get to San Diego Children's or Orange County Children's. And they couldn't life flight us because of the fire. So we sat at just a little regional hospital we had. And so it took 11 days for them to diagnose, because I think it took maybe 8 or something for us to get down to Children's in San Diego. And so when they finally diagnosed it, and they're like, okay, it's a ruptured appendix. After spending that much time in the hospital, we kind of knew everybody. Right? We'd had the same nurses rotate in and out, the same, obviously the managers, the directors. So we got to know people. And they said, hey, the surgeon coming in is the best. They were like, she's kind of gruff. And she was, that she came highly recommended, Johns Hopkins trained. So we did not know her, right? Other than just, hi, we hear you're the surgeon. Didn't really like her, talking about a tough bedside manner. She was just gruff, to the point. But we 98, 99%, 100% trusted her, right? We gave her our daughter to heal. I don't know if there's any more trust than that, right? So, Wes, that's life or death, that's surgery. How does that have to do with sales? It has everything to do with sales. Everything is sales. We could have said no to that doctor. We could have requested another second opinion. We could have requested a different surgeon. Okay, but we trusted the people around us. So, which points to social proof, Robert Cialdini and influence. So a lot of things come together in selling and marketing and persuasion, charisma. So I tell you this because I want you to focus on building trust. Build trust in everything that you do. The videos you make, the emails you send, the letters you send, the voicemails you leave, the posts you make on social media. Build trust. And on the one hand, maybe it's tough because I've always said, we must adjust how we sell to match how the prospect buys. But you don't have to cater every single thing you do to every single person when it comes to building trust. Be yourself, okay? We keep hearing about authenticity and transparency. And in the age of AI, I think it's going to become refreshing when people see the real you, a real human putting out content, calling, leaving a voicemail, sending a text message, checking in on people. You build trust not by changing who you are, but being more thoroughly, more completely who you are. And one of those things you need to be in sales is empathetic. Okay. That means you see things from the perspective of your prospect. You walk around that negotiation table and sit side by side with them. You walk a mile in their shoes. So are you empathetic? Do they recognize that? Okay. And are you consistent? I always talk about this in my training. Selling is courtship, and you don't win over the love of your life by writing like the greatest poem ever. You win them over by being consistent, constantly showing up, being there when they need you. Maybe you write a poem or a song and it sucks, but you put forth it's the thought that counts. You bring them chocolates, but if they got nuts in them, they have a peanut allergy, but you didn't know, but you try, they give them away to somebody, but they appreciate the effort. You bring them flowers. They can be allergic to the pollen, but it's the thought that counts. It's the showing up. Yes, it helps if it's a good song and a good poem and the right food and whatever, of course, but you get my point. Are you consistently showing up? And then are you congruent? I'll make a video about this on the new ABCs of selling. It's not always be closing. That's crap. I need to remember. Somebody remind me, right? Always the new ABCs of selling. But one of them is always be congruent. Always be consistent, right? I just talked about always be congruent. And so it's similar to being consistent, but it's everything matches the style, the emotions, the imagery that your branding, your marketing, whatever creates is congruent. It's of the same line of thinking, right? So the prospect in their mind, it's a seamless transition from an ad to an email to a video to meeting you in person. So an example I usually give is like, if you have Neiman Marcus advertising and branding and elegance, come to our store, and they show up and it's Walmart, right? It's dirty, shopping carts everywhere, tipped over, there's trash, crazy people, metal detectors. It's like, this is not congruent. And a confused mind says no. You must be consistent, you must be congruent. That's how you build trust. When things are as they should be, when things are as the prospect expects them to be, they continue moving forward. They trust the process. They trust you as the creator of that process. Okay. So focus on building trust. Now, of course, as they see your ads and promotions, whatever, they'll get to know you. But the reality is, do we really know people from an ad? There are people that I follow, people I've signed up for their stuff. I think I like them. They come across well. I haven't met them. Haven't even had a live chat with them. Haven't even sat in a live webinar with them. So do I really know them? I think I like them from what I see. Seems to be okay. But I trust these people after I trust them enough to sign up for their stuff, trust them enough to read some of it, and deploy, implement some of their things. So focus on trust. Okay. And as you land clients, deliver a great experience, they'll give you referrals, testimonials, and repeat orders. Now, those people trust you too. And it becomes easier and easier and easier. So that reminds me too, I'll make another series on what I call the ABCDE sales and marketing. It goes along with the ABCs, but it's similar yet different, but it's more of a process and it's cyclical instead of one direction. A typical pipeline is left or right, whatever. You throw some stuff in, hope something comes out, or a funnel. It's top down. Pack enough stuff in, hopefully something comes out. That's okay as a part of your process, but you need to think long term. You need to think and act in such a way that you can get 5 orders from a customer, not just one. So think in terms of getting married, not just dating. Okay. So by developing that trust, by focusing on that from the beginning, making that your emphasis, the thrust of everything that you do, and you deliver it, you'll get customers for life. All right. That's why knowing, liking, and trusting is a lie. Focus on trusting. Need some help with that? Check out a couple things. 12 Weeks to Peak. It's in the description down below. And I've also got my free daily newsletter. You can get that in the comments. I'll pin that as the first comment. So either one of those are both free, depending on what you need. The daily will keep you going. The 12 weeks to peak is a 12-week habit tracker to help you be more effective in your faith, family, fitness, and finances. So avail yourself of those opportunities. All right? Then you'll get to know, like, and trust me. That's how this works. Thanks for watching. I'll go sell something.